This isn't just a story about heartbreak. It's about a betrayal so cold and calculated it changed my entire life. Imagine finding out your whole relationship was a carefully constructed lie, not just with one person, but two others, all at the same time. The shock, the anger, the bone-deep realization that someone you loved was a complete stranger. It hit me like a physical blow, and the fallout was something I never could have predicted. For months, it felt like I'd been living in a pressure cooker. I'm 29, and my job as a receptionist at a warehouse had always been stable, if not glamorous. But after an employee tragically passed away, the air in that place turned toxic. People were devastated, scared, just trying to cope, but our floor manager made everything worse. He was always one for ill-timed jokes, but this was a new low. Before anyone officially knew the employee had died, he openly mocked the man in the break room, saying he was probably just being dramatic or lazy. And the worst part? The dead employee's uncle, a lawyer, was right there listening. He didn't yell. He just stared at the manager with an intensity that made my blood run cold. When the official news broke that day, it was chaos. HR meetings, whispers, tears, resignations, investigations. The tension in that place has been unbearable ever since, and I've been desperately applying for new jobs, just trying to escape. So that's where my head was at, emotionally drained, anxious, barely sleeping. Then came the part that brought me to my knees. A few nights ago, my laptop was overheating, so I borrowed my boyfriend's. He works at a gaming store, and honestly, he treats that job like it's his entire identity. He loves being the expert, the guy who explains pre-orders and release dates, often talking down to customers. I always found it kind of endearing, you know? But then, an Instagram message popped up from a name I didn't recognize. The preview, it was not something someone in a committed relationship should ever be receiving. My hands went instantly cold. I opened that conversation, and then another and another. He wasn't just flirting, he wasn't just cheating, he was actively in two separate, full-blown relationships besides mine. I'll call them Nat and Eva. Both conversations stretched back months. Both were deeply emotional, intimate, and packed with the exact same sweet nothings he'd whispered to me, the same nicknames, the same late-night confessions, the same comforting lines. It was like he had a script, copy, paste, send. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't confront him. I know exactly how he reacts when he's caught. He spins everything. Suddenly he's the victim. His voice gets soft and shaky, and he makes you feel like the bad guy for even bringing it up. I refused to give him that power. Instead, I methodically took screenshots, dates, receipts. I connected the timelines. Then, with a chilling calm, I drafted two messages, one to Nat, one to Eva. Hi, I believe we've both been seeing the same person. I'm not reaching out to fight or blame. I just think we both deserve the truth. I have screenshots if you'd like to see them. I'm really sorry. This is not something anyone should have to find out this way. I stared at the send button, my heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears, my hands shaking so badly I had to steady the phone with both palms. And then I pressed send. Right now, I'm just sitting here. The apartment is quiet, my dog asleep beside me, the sun dipping below the horizon. He's still at the gaming store, laughing with customers, utterly clueless. Both Nat and Eva's messages say delivered. No replies yet. I keep checking my phone, even though I know it won't make a difference. Something is coming. I don't know what shape it will take, but I know life won't look the same once those messages are read. If you're still with me on this unbelievable journey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. More stories are definitely coming, and trust me, they're just as wild. Days crawled by. Every buzz of my phone made my heart leap, and then sink when it wasn't one of them. Finally, Nat replied. Her first message was blunt. Proof. I sent everything, pictures, message screenshots, timestamps, the identical lines he'd used on both of us, the photos he'd sent us. I didn't sugarcoat a single thing. Nat asked what I wanted, said she needed to talk, and then, eerily, asked if I'd seen anything else because she suspected there might be another girl. Eva took longer to answer. When she finally did, she also asked for proof. Sending her those same damning screenshots felt like twisting a knife in my own gut. None of us were calm. None of us could truly breathe. After a long, ugly day of messaging, we agreed to meet the next day. We picked a crowded restaurant, a loud, public place that felt strangely wrong for such an intimate conversation, but still, we all showed up. Talking face to face was raw, a tension that text could never convey. Eva was already crying as we started comparing notes, apologizing over and over as if it was her fault. Nat, on the other hand, was absolutely furious. That tight-voiced, red-faced anger that makes you hold your breath. I could practically see her hands itching to march over to him and demand an explanation. But she managed to rein it in. When we finally focused on facts instead of just fury, they asked me what I wanted. I told them straight. Payback. I wanted him to feel the consequences. This wasn't a small betrayal. Then I asked the question that made everything worse. Did you guys have unprotected sex with him? Eva said no. Nat and I said yes. The silence that followed was heavy, sharp, and suddenly every plan felt complicated by fear and terrifying what-ifs. Without drama, we all agreed to get tested first. Nobody was willing to gamble with their health. That was the only truly adult decision made all morning. After that, Nat and Eva said they wanted to plan, but only once we knew for sure. I told them to hold on, because a plan was already brewing inside me. I wasn't ready to lay it out yet. I was too furious. I just told them I was incredibly angry, and he was going to pay dearly for this. I meant it with every fiber of my being. It took over a week for the results to come back. The waiting was a slow, agonizing process of appointment holds, buzzing phones, and that tiny panic under your ribs. Nat and I both got clean results. Relief hit like a drenching towel, but then Eva's message landed, and everything went cold again. Eva tested positive for syphilis. She sent a photo of the lab result, then started messaging like she was falling to pieces, crying, apologizing, terrified, asking if she'd ruined everything. Then she dropped another detail that made my blood run cold. He was her first. She'd even introduced him to her parents. He'd told her he loved her, that he wanted to be with her, and because she believed him, she hadn't used protection. She sounded so small, like she was confessing. Hearing that ignited a furious, physical rage in Nat and me. Nat immediately went into fix-it mode, saying the practical, hard truth. Syphilis could be treated, and Eva needed antibiotics right away. Eva started treatment that day, promising to follow every appointment. She kept apologizing, calling herself stupid for trusting him. Nat and I shut that down. She didn't do this to herself. He lied to 3 people and jeopardized someone's health. Once the medical panic had a plan, our conversation turned to payback. Nat said it flat out. He cheated on all 3 of us. He needs consequences and not small ones. He should pay tenfold for what he's done. I agreed. Eva, shaky but steady, agreed too. We were raw, and anger felt like pure fuel. I asked a practical question I'd been mulling over for days. Does he have anything of value at his places? Collectibles, Pokemon cards, Gundam models, Lego sets, anything we could convert into cash. Now remembered him keeping a small deck of Pokemon cards at her place, where he often crashed after shifts. Eva said he left bigger stuff at her apartment, half-built Gundam models, a box Lego set she'd helped him with. He didn't actually keep these things at his apartment. He used our places as crash spots, displaying his collections where the girls he was sleeping with could see them. It suddenly clicked. He was consolidating his treasures across all of us. We swapped details. Nat described the deck box under her TV and which cards looked valuable. Eva described the half-built Gundam, the box Lego set in her closet, how he used to show them off. I admitted I never knew how much money he had because we kept finances separate. At first, that felt like a mistake, but then I realized I was glad I hadn't mixed money with him. Now, I was grateful because it meant he had enough cash to buy and stash these things. Selling them might actually cover Eva's medical bills without getting into messy legal territory. I told them to hold on to everything, not to smash it or post photos online yet. Keep the collections intact and documented. Nat promised to secure the Pokemon cards. Eva boxed the Gundam pieces and Lego and locked them in her closet. We took pictures, noted serial numbers, saved any receipts or screenshots of him bragging about his purchases. We wrote everything down. Who saw what, when, where. It felt boring and adult, and exactly what needed to happen. We agreed the first priority was Eva's medical bills, sell what we needed, legally and cleanly, to cover the treatment. After that, we'd decide the rest. I told him I didn't want childish, illegal stunts. I wanted him to pay in a way that truly mattered, destroy his credibility at work, make his name whispered in a way that affected him, make his normal routine impossible. Ruin the safe, little life he'd built on lies. Nat agreed. Eva agreed. We were all tired of being the ones who had to pick up the pieces he left behind. That night, I went to bed with a list in my head and an anger that felt steady and cold. He lied to 3 people, used our trust, and nearly ruined someone's health. We weren't done with him. Not by a long shot. We all went back to pretending everything was fine, and I became the puppet master from the inside. Every text I sent him was casual. I laughed at his dumb jokes about pre-orders. I acted like I knew nothing. Nat and Eva did the same because I asked them to. For now, silence and normalcy would give us access and keep him from covering his tracks. I subtly pushed him into confirming things via text. I got him to casually state that the Pokemon cards, Gundam bits, and box Lego were gifts he wanted them to keep. He didn't think twice. I made sure we had receipts, timestamps, screenshots, proof he'd acknowledged those items and left them at our places. Nat texted him, thanking him for the cards, asking him to write something casual about it, and he did. Eva boxed up the Gundam pieces and the Lego, and I photographed everything. We weren't trying to illegally trap him. We were building a clean, undeniable paper trail. While we were doing that, Eva dropped an unexpected detail. She mentioned she has 2 older cousins named Sam and Dean. When she said their names, my skin went cold. Those were the same 2 names everyone talked about from that big tech firm. Eva asked if I knew the Sam and Dean who worked at the company, and I told her yes. She said he'd been bragging about meeting them at a convention, being in circles with powerful people and beautiful women, like he was some kind of insider. Nat kept saying she wanted to punch him, but I told her to hold back. If we let anger take over now, he'd smell it, and we'd lose our advantage. Eva cried again, heartbroken that she'd believed him, even introduced him to her parents, how sincere he'd sounded when he told her he loved her. Hearing it all, my anger hardened into a plan. I wasn't willing to just hurt him emotionally. I wanted consequences that would stick. So I mapped it out. I told him about a meetup he'd be hosting at the store in a couple of weeks, a Pokemon and Gundam model kit event where fans and regulars would show up. It was the perfect place. His coworkers would be there, customers who knew him, a crowd that treated him like the friendly guy behind the counter. I said we'd show up with everything: screenshots, receipts, photos of the collections at our places, and Eva's medical proof. We needed a moment where he couldn't control the narrative. I planned the rest. I'd handle the setup, bring the documentation, coordinate timing, and make sure we were calm and factual. Eva would bring the medical proof, and Nat would bring the cards, displayed openly. I told them to act normal until that day, to keep him comfortable and unsuspecting. Then I said the part that felt satisfying, petty, and incredibly effective. I'd make sure he couldn't spin it while people were listening. I wasn't going to do anything illegal or dangerous, just something messy but not harmful, to make him step away briefly, so the moment would belong to us. I didn't spell out every detail over text, keeping it practical and legal in tone, but I made sure Nat and Eva understood the goal. He needed to be exposed in front of the very people who enabled his charade. They agreed, not for theatrics, but because they trusted I had a plan that wouldn't cross a line. They agreed to keep everything documented and avoid impulse. They'd stick to the script, normal until the day, then show proof, then let the fallout be public. We went back to our roles. I smiled when he came home. I listened to his dumb store stories. I let him brag about meeting influential people, knowing his own name-dropping would be part of his unraveling. I photographed every collectible, saved every text, logged dates and times, and kept receipts. I thought about Sam and Dean, and how his little lies about being connected only made him look smaller when the truth came out. I didn't know exactly how people would react at the meetup, or how loud the consequences would be. But I knew this. I had planned it, and when we showed up, we would be prepared, factual, and ready to ensure he couldn't gaslight his way out of it. He'd been living on lies. We were about to pull the floor out from under him. It's been a couple of weeks since the meetup, and everything happened. The videos went everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, even the local community Facebook page, they were reposted countless times. We protected Eva's medical situation, keeping it private, but we did imply he had an STD. Since the three of us were now cleared, people started filling in the blanks themselves. That was enough. The day of the event, we all showed up almost at the exact same time. Easily 50+ people were crammed into the store, showing off Pokemon cards and Gundam models. He looked like he was having the best day of his life. Big smile, talking loud, acting like the king of the room. He was sweating a bit, but it just looked like excitement. I hated him in that moment. I didn't even try to hide it. I waited. I knew the drink he'd taken earlier was going to hit soon. He always had his protein shake during long shifts, and he didn't think twice when I handed it to him that morning. He trusted me. That trust was the last thing he was getting from me. When I saw him start shifting on his feet, wiping sweat from his forehead, his jaw tightening, I nodded at the girls. It was time. We released the screenshots online, posting them to the store's page, timed perfectly. Then we walked in. I said his name loud enough for the entire room to fall silent. Everyone looked. He turned, confused, and then he saw all three of us standing together. His entire face changed. He tried to smile like nothing was wrong, but he already knew. I told him, in a clear voice, no shaking, that he had been cheating on all three of us. The room went dead silent. He tried to talk, tried to explain, tried to twist it into some misunderstanding, but his stomach chose that exact moment to remind him he had bigger problems. He stepped away fast and ran toward the back, and it was loud. Really loud. Everyone heard it. Someone actually laughed. He started cursing and yelling at us from inside the bathroom, telling us we'd pay, that we were ruining his life. I laughed. Nat laughed harder. Eva was crying, but in that exhausted, done kind of way. He finally emerged, looking utterly destroyed, sweat dripping, face red, shaking. That's when Eva handed him an envelope. Her voice cracked, but she held her ground. "You've been served." The legal documents were exactly what she'd mentioned before. He froze. Then he tried to step toward Eva, as if to snatch the envelope and tear it up. But then we heard a voice behind us. "If you touch my cousin, you're going to kiss the pavement." Everyone turned. A guy in a suit walked in, with another guy in a leather jacket next to him. Eva whispered it. Sam and Dean. Her older cousins. The same ones he'd bragged about knowing. His face went pale. He tried to claim it was a misunderstanding. Sam didn't let him. Sam asked him, in front of everyone, if he had been dating Eva along with two other women at the same time. He didn't answer. You could hear his stomach again. It was embarrassing in a way I didn't even know existed. He tried to run to the bathroom, but someone else was in it. Eva handed him a small plastic bucket. He ducked behind the counter, and the sound that came out of him made the entire store react. People covered their noses. Someone gagged and left. One guy actually said, "Bro, what the hell?" and walked right out. I told him we had everything, screenshots, photos, proof of the cheating, proof he bragged about it to his friends. Then I looked at his little friend group standing there and told them everything was posted online already. So if they had girlfriends or wives, they'd find out. Sam and Dean didn't do anything dramatic. They didn't threaten him again. They just laughed. Then they walked out with us. The store had to close early because the smell was so bad, and because the workers were trying not to get on camera next to him. Now the video is everywhere. People have slowed it down, captioned it, added music, memed it. There's going to be a court summons soon. He knows it. He can't dodge that part. While this was all going down, my friends were already at my apartment, packing my things. Movers, too. By the time he gets back there, my half will be empty. I took the stuff he gave me because I had receipts, and I didn't touch anything that wasn't mine. I already know he was cheating with others, too, but that's a problem for another day. For now, I'm staying at my friend's place. I'm still job hunting, and it's still stressful. But as we were walking out, Dean handed me a business card. He said it was for a marketing firm, didn't promise anything, just told me to call the number directly in a couple of days. I will. It's been a month since everything went down at the store, and honestly, I didn't expect things to spiral this far, but here we are. I don't even call him by his name anymore. I call him Smelly. Everyone does. The nickname stuck because of what happened during the meetup, and because the internet has zero mercy. Videos are still popping up. Someone recorded the exact moment he was sitting on the bucket behind the counter, and another person edited the audio, so when he pushed, they added that dramatic horror movie scream. I shouldn't have laughed as hard as I did, but I did. Even Eva laughed, and she deserved to. He tried to take us to court, claiming we set him up and poisoned him. The problem was, he couldn't prove anything. No footage of anyone tampering with anything, no paper trail, no text admission, nothing. The judge tossed that part out fast. His lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into the carpet. But the case didn't end there, because Eva filed her claim and her medical documentation was solid. Through discovery, the test results confirmed he had an STD, which meant he was the one who brought it into the situation. That flipped the entire case. Suddenly, he wasn't the victim. He was the problem. So now he has to pay Eva's medical bills. And there's talk of criminal charges because other girls are stepping forward now, too. Apparently, we weren't the only ones, and losing the court battle wasn't even his biggest issue. He lost his job. The store took heavy backlash from the videos. People were leaving negative reviews, making jokes, and someone even found a screenshot of him bragging about cheating on all three of us in a private messenger group. And get this, the store owner was actually in that same group chat and had seen the bragging. He originally tried to do damage control, release some generic apology statement, and even mention pursuing legal action against us. But that changed fast once he found out who would be on our side. Because of Sam and Dean and the tech firm connection, and some rumor about the CEO, he backed off completely. Apparently, he was involved in screwing over the CEO back when the CEO was just a security guard and does not want that smoke resurfacing. He shut up real quick. So now Smelly is unemployed, scrambling to pay rent, and begging people online to hear his side. The comments are brutal. Someone even replied, "Bro, we already heard your side in 4K audio with echo." I shouldn't laugh, but I am still laughing. As for me, I'm actually okay. Tired, but okay. I had an interview at the marketing firm Dean mentioned. He didn't promise anything, and he made that clear, but he gave me the card and told me to call. I did. They brought me in. The interview felt solid. The manager liked me. I didn't overshare anything about what happened. I didn't need this to be a trauma resume. I'm still staying with my friend, still figuring things out. But I feel like I'm finally walking forward instead of just surviving.
And Smelly?
He's still online, trying to explain why 3 girlfriends showing up at the same time in front of 50-plus people wasn't really cheating. Good luck with that. It's been a couple more months now, and things finally feel like they're settling in a good way. I got the job at the marketing firm. I'm a receptionist there now, and honestly, it feels like a different life. The building I work at is older, but the main operations are downtown in the tower where the tech firm, the same one Sam and Dean are connected to, is located. I'm not in that building yet, but I see the shuttles and staff passes, and it still feels unreal sometimes. The pay is good, too, better than I've ever made. I was even able to get my own place. The company actually has housing support for staff who are trying to get back on their feet, so they helped me secure a unit in one of the company-owned apartments. It's clean, affordable, and no rotting warehouse energy. I even met a woman and her child who lived 2 doors down. Apparently, Andrew and Kat helped them out during some terrible situation a while back. Small world vibes are insane. Anyway, on to the rest. A new video surfaced of Nat and Smelly. Nat hit him right between the legs in public. He tried to confront her outside a grocery store, like he actually thought he could intimidate her. He grabbed her by the arm, and Nat reacted without hesitation. One clean, accurate swing with her knee, and Smelly folded like a lawn chair. You can hear the impact on the video. Every man within a 10-foot radius winced. But that's not even the wild part. Nat was on a date at the time, and the guy she was with just stood behind her like a silent wall. He didn't need to do anything. He didn't yell, didn't posture, didn't threaten. When Smelly was bent over, wheezing, the guy just stepped forward, picked Nat up off her feet like she weighed nothing, and they walked away. She looked like a queen being carried out of a trash fire. And then the guy, in the calmest voice, said, "She isn't yours. She never was." Everyone around heard it. Someone in the background said, "Damn." Like it was a movie trailer. Smelly tried to scream at them, but he couldn't breathe properly. Someone called the cops. Smelly ended up getting charged for attempted assault since he grabbed her first. Nat didn't even have to press charges. The bystanders did it for her. The video is everywhere now. It's even funnier knowing I don't have to blur his face, because everyone already knows who he is. He had to sell everything, the Pokemon cards, the Gundams, the Lego, his consoles, even some furniture, just to cover the medical bills, the legal fees, and rent for a couple extra weeks. Word is he's living with some cousin now and sleeping in the living room. The internet still calls him Smelly. That part hasn't died down. Eva is doing okay, too. Better, actually. Her parents were furious, like fathers breaking chairs on site furious. And her dad apparently went nuclear behind the scenes. We don't have the full story, because Eva said it's not her story to tell. But we do know one thing. Smelly will not try to contact her ever again. We don't ask questions. We don't need to. Her dad handled it. Eva's in therapy now, working through things slowly, and she messages us sometimes when she feels ready. She's calmer, softer, more grounded. She's healing. So, yeah, things are better. I have a stable job, a place to live. I'm not waking up every day feeling like my stomach is falling through the floor. Nat is thriving. Eva is recovering. Smelly is somewhere, dealing with the consequences of his own actions. The world didn't fix itself overnight, but it shifted just enough that I can breathe. I don't know what happens next, but for the first time in a long time, I don't feel like the world is ending. Feels like it might actually be starting. This will be the last time I talk about any of this. Life has moved forward, and I'm done letting Smelly take up space in my head. Yes, Smelly tried to come back. Not directly at first. He used old friends' accounts, random message requests, obviously fake profiles with 0 followers. He tried the whole "I've changed and I'm sorry" routine. Then it became we had something real. Then it shifted into I deserve a second chance. I ignored all of it. When I didn't respond, he tried to look for me in person. I don't know how he thought that would go. The building I'm living in now has actual security, and that's not an exaggeration. Dean handles the entire security division for the company's properties. So the moment Smelly tried to show up, the front desk flagged it, cameras got it, and it was documented. He got issued a legal harassment warning. One more attempt, and he'd be charged. He disappeared after that. As for the store he worked at, it didn't survive. Once the truth came out about how he was bragging about using people to grow the business and lying to everyone around him, the reputation died overnight. Then more information leaked about how the owner had gotten his store started in the first place and who he stepped on to get there. Customers stopped showing up. The meetup community stopped supporting him. The store went under, and the restaurant he was working on never opened. Both closed. Lights off. Gone. Smelly disappeared from social media, too. No posts, no updates, no attempts at clearing his name. I think even he knows that there's nothing left to fix. A few people told me they thought I went too far, that I should have let it go, that I should have taken the moral high road. But those people weren't there when Eva got her diagnosis. They didn't feel the humiliation Nat, and I did. They didn't watch him pretend to love 3 different people like it was a hobby. The truth is, I don't think we went far enough. But that's karma's job now, not mine. I'm good. Really good, actually. I love my job. I love my new place. I love waking up without my chest feeling heavy. I'm staying single for now, not because I'm scared, but because I want to choose myself on purpose for a while. Nat is happy with her new guy, the one who carried her like a queen. Eva is healing. She's taking therapy seriously, and her family is still supporting her fiercely. And Smelly, well, wherever he is now, he has to live with everything he did. That's more punishment than anything I could have planned. So, tell me, what would you have done if you found yourself in my shoes? Have you ever had to choose between letting something go or fighting for justice?
I really want to know what you think.